Hi, I'm Donald from PD, and today we're going to go over the operation of the BK mobile radio that's being installed in all the FMO and forester trucks currently, and also will end up in all the forest technician vehicles in the near future. Okay folks, let's jump right on in and let's turn this radio on. We turn the radio on by pressing this knob. The radio is on. To adjust the volume of the radio, turn the knob. This is the channel selector knob. This is the home button. If you want to set the home button, you press and hold. You want to set it to your home repeater. If your home repeater is Buford, you would take and press this button and hold it in. And it says home button set. In this case, zone 1, channel 10, which is Buford. So, if I turn off of it to go to a tactical channel and just barely touch it, it goes to Buford. I'll show you a fallacy you have to be careful of because I did it a few minutes ago. If you're riding down the road and you hold this button down too long, it'll reset the home channel. So you just want to barely touch it and not reset it. And it's not a big deal if you do because you can always put it back. So now it says Lodge, so I want to switch it back to Buford. So that's home channel operation. This radio has touch screen operation, which means the buttons are actually on the screen. You touch them with your finger. The first button was the zone button. I'll show you again. Zone. This radio has a number of zones. And the zones are not accessed by the channel knob, which is an easy habit to do. The zones are actually accessed by the up and down arrows. The zones are broken into two supervisors that are pretty aligned with each other. They share a zone. In the case of Horry and Florence, Black River 2, Black River 3. In Columbia, East 2, East 3, and so forth. North Carolina Forest Service, everything in North Carolina is in one zone. The U.S. Forest Service, everything that we have access to is in one zone. You have a weather zone. Out of state. The out of state zone is if you go out of state, this is where you can accept a clone from another technical person out of state that's assigned to the fire. So as you see, there are a number of zones in this radio. To get out of that, you escape. Still back in statewide. If you want to select a zone, let's say I'm in Florence now, so let's say I want to go to the BR3 zone. And I want Florence to be my home channel. I'll turn the knob to Florence. And I press and hold home channel. So now, when I turn the radio off and turn it back on, it'll come back on Florence. So if I go to my tactical, which Florence uses TAC 3, The one limitation of this radio, there's only one home button. The Motorola's had a home repeater and a home tactical. You can only assign one home channel. But we can easily turn the knob back to get to where you were. On the home channel, a word of caution: if you're riding down the road and you hold this home channel button down too long, it's going to reset the home channel. Again, you can set the home channel just by pressing and holding it, and it changes it to the home channel. So if you knock it off, you can always put it back. It's not a major problem. Put it back on Florence. Scan list. This is the scan button. Radio scans off. Radio scan on. Very similar to the Kenwoods that you're familiar with. To add something to the scan list, very similar to the Kenwoods. You notice there's check boxes in things that are scanned. Let's say we want to take TAC 4 out of scan, hit the plus and minus. And you use the up and down arrows to make your selection. Okay, I just didn't hit it hard enough, it didn't take it. Okay, it's now out. Put it back in, you mash the plus minus. When you finish, you escape and it says settings saved. On the Forest Technician units, there's a monitor button to listen to what's on the channel. Shows the speaker. You're familiar with that from the Motorola, which is P4 on the Motorola. You turn the monitor off. That button may go away one day and be assigned to something else, and we'll talk about that later. Menu. A lot of things in this particular menu, and this could be adjusted at a later date, but just to show you what's in there currently. The backlight, the lighting for the screen. Currently it's set for auto. You can actually change that. You can make it dim, you can make it medium, you can make it bright, you can make it custom. I just keep it on auto. Squelch adjust. If you have to do this, you probably want to give me a call. But this is a setting. If you feel like your radio's not opening up to weak signals and you're not hearing what you're supposed to, basically you can scroll down to squelch adjust and it says adjust. You can actually do it for a selected channel, a selected zone, or you can do it for all channels. We'll do it for all channels. And this one's already been turned down a little bit, but you can actually turn it down. Because it normally is typically in the middle, but you can actually adjust it if you wish. That's just like a squelch control on a radio that used to have the old-fashioned squelch controls like your CBs or something like that. Versions, that's basically for us. That's not going to tell you anything, just a firmware version that's in the radio. Transmit power. This is one that is normally going to stay on low power. You say, well, I want to run as much power as I can. Well, that's not what we need to do here, and I'll show you why in a minute. Low power is 55 watts. 55 watts is more than adequate for normal operations. Under extreme emergency conditions in very, very bad spots, you do have the authorization to bump up to high power. And to do that, you use the down arrow, high, enter, and the radio is currently on high power. I do not recommend this for day-to-day. It's not needed. It's overkill because most of you are within range of your repeater and have great coverage. Only exception to the rule is I see an area around South Island in Georgetown County. This may help you get through the trees and the vegetation a little bit better. So that is your power setting, and we will go ahead and put this one back on low power. Cloning, something that is used for folks out of state to be able to get into your radio. You have like 20 banks in your radio currently. Only one bank is clonable. The rest of them are locked out, so they can't wipe out your programming from home. And then we go back to zone and we're back in the Black River zone. Couple of indicators on the screen. L for low power. Again, low power is 55 watts, which is probably even a tad more than your PM400s were. You have the Z for scan. The check mark means it's in the scan list. Now, controls over here. Again, you use your arrows up and down, left and right whenever you're in the menu for manipulation. The OK button typically will also, whatever is selected here will act as an OK. If it's still sitting on zone, it'll let you pick that zone. If you're in a menu and you're up and down and you change something like, say, transmit power, and you hit OK, it's like an acknowledgement of an OK. The orange button is a nuisance delete button. You're familiar with the nuisance delete on the Motorola. If someone's talking on a scan channel and it's driving you crazy and they're just talking a lot, you can mash this orange button. Let's get back to normal here. And it won't let you do, there's nobody scanning, so this is to select the channel. But if it were somebody scanning and someone talking, we could actually delete it. Now let's see what's here. Let's try something here. Got James's walkie-talkie. And it actually deleted it. The BK mobile scan system is set up differently from the Motorola, and we've discussed this with the BK representatives. And at this point, we're going to have to live with a little bit of differences in the scan, but we can work around them and we can work through them. Obviously, the scan is on because the green button is pressed. And we have a signal coming in on TAC 4. So riding down the road, we see no difference. If we take the mic off the hook, testing, and we make a call on our home repeater and it's not scanning, it'll have a tendency to jump back. There's a 3-second timer on the scan mechanism. So if you're answering someone on your home repeater and there's a lot of fire department traffic, you may want to press and turn your scan off temporarily. I know that's an inconvenience, but that's something we can't do much about. Or you can go back to the case of you want to talk to someone, turn the scan back on, green again, green is for scan, and someone's talking on a TAC channel or a fire department channel, and then you want to call somebody on your home repeater and talk with them. During that 3-second window, you'll be able to correspond back and forth. But after that 3-second window that all the signals have gone away, it'll revert back to what you're scanning. So again, you have to turn your scan off and carry on your conversation. You also have the good old-fashioned nuisance delete, where you say, well, I want to talk to this person. I don't want to hear this. You can also mash nuisance delete and the channel will go away. So in order to take care of that again, I believe you're going to turn the power off, turn it back on to get it back on. That's how you get that channel back in the scan list. So there's some idiosyncrasies. We don't live in a perfect world, so we just have to deal with what we've got, but it's still the best product on the market for what we're dealing with in 2021. You may wonder what the little rubber plug is by the microphone connector. That is the programming port. Sometimes you got to pry it out. It can be a pain. And this is where we actually program the radio. Uses a standard off-the-shelf connector versus something expensive. and now the radio is ready to be programmed. One feature that we're finding very interesting and possibly a valuable asset to the FMOs, law enforcement, and foresters is the ability to build your own zone as needed, when you need it, that can be used either on a daily basis or used under special occasions. If you notice, we have the same zone, channel, and scan plus. These buttons, in my opinion, will never move. These are necessary and critical for the operation of the radio. However, the monitor button can be moved to the menu function, and we have a channel plus button in its place. We're introducing a concept called a command zone. If we go to zone and we arrow down, we have a command zone. A command zone is a zone that you can build yourself. James has a command zone. He has two things in his command zone. He has PD Ops and he has Florence. If he wants to add a channel to his command zone, very simple. He backs to the zone. Let's go back to his home zone. Did I make it go back? Let's see. Okay, back to Lynch's River, where he had it. Let's say he wants to put Patrick Fire Department in his command zone. All he's got to do is go to Channel Plus, Command Zone, enter channel number, which is the third channel, channel 3, enter. So if we go back to Zone, and we arrow down to Command Zone, enter, and we look what's in the zone, Patrick Fire Department is actually in his command zone. Let's say we want to take it out to command zone. We don't need it anymore. Delete Patrick Fire Department from the command zone, enter, and that says unprogrammed. A useful thing for this is you go into North Carolina. Well, sometimes you hit buttons you aren't supposed to. Let's say we go to North Carolina Forest Service, and we want to go to St. Paul. St. Paul's is the repeater outside of Fayetteville, and I want to add that to my command zone. We got a fire along the border with North Carolina. Command zone, yes, that's where I want to put it. I want to put it in channel number 3 in the command zone, sure. Channel added. So we go back to zone, command zone. St. Paul's, North Carolina is actually in the command zone. So you can build your zone as you go. And this is going to be a feature for FMOs, foresters, and law enforcement. So that's the basic operation. There's a lot of things this radio will do, a lot of the capabilities we haven't even touched that we don't really use. We haven't talked about digital, and we won't for a while at this point. But this radio is capable of P25 digital, which is something that the agency will be looking at in the next several years as to a plan. How do we approach that? I want to thank James Brunson, PD2, for letting us use his truck for this demonstration and reprogram his radio a couple of times to show the various modes. And if you have any questions about this radio, please give me a call. My phone's always on 24 hours. So with that, have a good day and hope you enjoyed the presentation.